There are ghost stories you tell around a campfire, and then there are haunted house stories you tell just because it's fun to be scared. And then there are stories that don't feel like stories at all. Stories that feel like records or even warnings. Like something people didn't want to talk about, but they had to because too many people saw it, too many people felt it, but they wanted to pretend that it didn't happen. Tonight we're talking about one of those stories because the Bell Witch wasn't just one person's nightmare. It wasn't one haunted house. It was an entire community slowly realizing that something was there and it wasn't leaving. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Samantha.
Welcome back to Exhumed.
I've heard of the Bell Witch before. I feel like I've read about it, but I really don't know a hell of a lot. I mean, with all the weird things that we read, everything starts to run in together.
I knew about it and I was always like, I want to go to the Bell Witch cave. But after knowing the whole story, I don't want to go.
I feel
I
like
don't.
there's a lot of places we don't want to go to anymore.
I know. Because you just hear a little bit of the story and then you're like, ooh, I want to go see that. But then you research it on your own. It's a different story.
But sometimes we just don't want that juju in our life.
No, not anymore.
No.
So tonight we go back to 1817 to a farm in Adams, Tennessee, and to a family who thought they were building a future until something decided it wanted to live there too.
I'm guessing a witch.
We'll see. Before we even get to the haunting, I should describe the environment because the environment makes it even more creepy. It was frontier land back then because remember, this is what did I say, 1817?
1870. Yeah.
So it wasn't just isolated geographically, it was isolated psychologically. When it's dark, it's dark. When the sun goes down, there's nothing. There's no lights, there's no cars. Of course, there weren't cars. There's no late night travelers. There's no emergency help if something happens. It's just forest and animals. And also, there's whatever you think might be out there watching you. And you got to imagine laying in bed in 1817. Your entire house is wood. Every sound carries. Wind sounds like breathing. Branches sound like footsteps. And loose boards, just the house settling, sounds like movement.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hear something scratching the wall, you don't turn on a light. You can't turn on a light. You just sit there and listen and hope it stops.
And wait. And wait.
Yep. And maybe talk to it. Like, leave me alone. Go away.
Well, hopefully a lot of that is tree branches.
You would hope. The Bellwitch family, the Bell family didn't just wake up haunted. It crept in. The first night they're scratching. Not violent, not even loud. It sounded like fingernails dragging across wood, very lightly, just enough to freak you out. So the mother, Lucy Bell, thinks it's rats. Makes sense. John Bell, the father, goes outside with his gun, looks around. There's nothing. The second night, there's the same sound. The third night, now it moves. Now it's not just in one spot of the house. It's moving all over the house. You can hear it on the outside of the house all over.
Okay.
Just from one wall over here, and then you hear it over on this wall. I'm moving. I'm moving. That's enough for me.
Yeah.
What they describe it as is it sounds like something is circling the house and like learning it. How creepy is that?
Something learning your behaviors.
Something learning you and learning your house.
It's made out of wood. Just at that point, all they really did was cut down trees. So start building elsewhere and then just set it on fire.
Historically, gradual escalation is incredibly common in haunting folklore. And if you think about it, yeah, it is. And when it's slow fear and it's building and building and you can account like where it started, how it escalated, where it ended up, that's scarier than something just happening really fast and you're like, what the fuck was that? And then it's gone. This happened very slowly. One night, the scratching comes from outside the house to inside the house. Now it sounds like it's inside the walls, from behind the children's bedroom wall. And one of the kids, Betsy, their daughter, wakes up crying. She says that someone is saying her name right next to her ear, as if it's trying to wake her up without waking anyone else up. I'm moving.
I'm going to say raccoon.
Well, they tried to make her feel better. A raccoon is going to say her name? I want to meet that raccoon. Aliens.
And the alien.
They try to explain it away and say that it's her imagination to make her feel better. But a few nights later, John Bell is walking the property near sunset. Now, he had been seeing animals that don't look right. He had been seeing them here and there for a little while. And this is another animal that he sees that just doesn't look right. Just looks off, like it's not normal. So he's walking the property near sunset, and it's that weird type of sunset where everything looks like it's glowing, like colors don't look real, like greens are way too green. You know what I'm talking about? Usually it happens when the sun's going down and it has just rained and everything just looks bright. All the colors look too bright to be real.
Especially when the sun is in just the right spot where there's hardly any shadows from your vantage point. Yeah.
Well, he sees something standing between rows of corn. And this thing is not moving. It's just standing there, watching him, staring at him. At first, he thinks it's a dog until it turns its head and its ears are funny. The ears are wrong. They're not like dog ears. They're more like a rabbit. They're long and thin. So it's like a dog body, rabbit head.
Okay.
And it doesn't run when he steps closer. He starts walking towards it and it just sits there and it just watches him like it knows him. And it was sitting there looking like it was just kind of waiting for him to notice it. You know how you just stand there and wait for somebody to notice you standing there?
Make weird faces. Be awkward.
Now, a lot of retellings of this story say that John hesitated, and that's kind of important because it kind of doesn't register to him right away that it's even an animal. He doesn't shoot right away. He's just, what is that? You know, like it's not processing in his head what it is. So then he fires. Birds explode out of the trees, and when he looks back up, there's nothing there. There's no body, no blood. No tracks, no movement, no sound of something running. It's just silence, and the thing is gone. And he had this feeling that
he shot a gun up into the trees. Birds exploded?
No, he shot at the dog rabbit thing.
Okay.
And the birds got scared and left the trees like he obviously shot. And he didn't see the thing take off. It just wasn't there anymore. And there's no evidence that it was there at all. So he could have just been shooting at something that was his imagination, but he saw it. And he had this feeling that he had just done something he was not supposed to do. And he might have been right, because that night the house was loud. There's no scratching, there's no knocking. Now there's walking, just heavy footsteps across the floor. And it's just pacing back and forth through the house, and everyone's hearing it. You can almost follow where these footsteps are going, but there's nothing there.
Okay, so it's time to burn down the house and move.
It's time to burn the house. It's time to leave. And these footsteps are not just walking. They're more like stomping, like something's pissed. Whatever it is, it's mad. Betsy was the first one to be attacked. She's the daughter. And this thing, whatever it is, in their house has it out for her. What you have to understand is that there are people in this house that this entity, witch, whatever you're going to call it, hates. And then there's people that it likes. So the first time Betsy is attacked, she wakes up because her blanket is being pulled off of her while she's sleeping. And it's not sliding, it's being pulled off of her. She grabs her blankets and she tries to pull back, and the thing yanks the blankets right off of her. And then she hears breathing right next to her face. And you know how even in the dark, the way that someone's breathing, you can tell if they're smiling? That's what she felt. That is so creepy.
I really don't know about that. I don't want anyone breathing in my face.
So she doesn't scream right away because she thinks it's someone in the house until something pinches her arm. There's nothing there. There's nothing breathing in her face, and there's nothing pinching her arm now. She can't see it. There's nothing there, but it's doing these things to her. Now, pinching isn't the only thing that this entity is doing to her. As it progresses, it gets worse. But this was the first instance that she was attacked. Then came the voice. Lucy Bell would be praying out loud. Lucy is the mom. And in the middle of her prayer, a woman's voice would say, "You pray too loud." And it's not just Lucy hearing this. The whole house can hear it. This voice is loud and clear, and everyone can hear it. They just can't see it.
That
That's what's
sounds
so
almost
creepy about
demonic.
this story. Yeah. And the worst part is that this was not random. It had preferences. Like I said, it liked Lucy. It hated John. It hated Betsy. It hated Betsy's boyfriend, too. And I'll tell that story in a little bit. It mocked people. It laughed at people. It would repeat Bible verses, and then it would twist the ending of it into insults. Like, this thing was intelligent. And it kind of wanted them to know, I know you're praying, and I don't care. So this got bad because eventually Betsy would have these marks all over her body. She'd get smacked. She'd get pinched. Sometimes she would get smacked so hard it would knock her out. She'd have bruises and bumps and everything all over her body from this thing. How do you fight something you can't see? So John Bell gets desperate and he starts talking to his neighbor. And his neighbor went to the same church that they went to. Now, John was a deacon at this church. They were a respectable family. John was very respected. So when he started telling stories like this, people believed him because why wouldn't they? He was respected. They had lived there for like 13 years before this haunting even started. So he's talking to his neighbor named James Johnson, and the neighbor decided to come over and stay the night. Not because they don't believe, but because they wanted to see how bad it really was. James Johnston and his wife came to spend the night at the house, and he reportedly says out loud, "If you're real, prove it." And the voice answers, "I'm as real as you are." And then it slaps him. Think of this voice being so clear. It's not like you have to catch it on an EVP. It's not like you have to listen closely. It's like me talking to you right now, and everyone in the house can hear it, but they can't see it.
At that point, what do you know what's real and what's not?
I know.
Like, this is how people go psychotic.
Yeah. This thing slaps James Johnston so hard that it leaves a mark on his face. And he's like, I'm okay. I believe you. I'm not coming back." Him and his wife left and never came back.
No.
I wouldn't blame him. Now, John Bell's health starts to decline. Like I said, this thing, at this point, they're calling it a witch. This is within the course of like a 3-year span that all this happened. They put up with this shit for 3 years. So John Bell gets sick. He doesn't collapse suddenly, though. He just slowly fades. He first has trouble swallowing. Then he has trouble speaking. Then he has trouble walking without help. And the voice starts talking directly to him, mocking him, threatening him, telling him every day he's going to die. And he does die. The night he dies, the house is really quiet. The house is too quiet. There's not even crickets. In the morning, they can't wake him up. But on the bedside table, there's a little apothecary bottle with some dark liquid in it, and nobody knew where it came from or what it was. And then they ask out loud what it is, and the voice said, "I gave him a big dose last night," and laughed.
A dose
They
of what?
still didn't.
Arsenic?
The voice did not say what it was. It just laughed and said, "I gave him a big dose. I got him." And they still didn't know what it was. So they're like, well, let's try and figure out what this is. Gave a drop to their cat. Just put a drop on the cat's tongue. Cat died almost instantly.
Oh, poor baby.
I knew you would be mad about that one.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's about an animal. Of course I am.
I know. During the funeral, there's people crying, there's people praying, and multiple witnesses later say they heard laughing. It wasn't loud, and it wasn't like hysterical laughing. It was just a very satisfied sounding laugh, but it was coming from nowhere. Now it's not just in the house, it's within the community.
I'm slightly concerned what satisfying means.
Satisfied that he killed him.
Demonic? Okay. So demonic.
Yeah. The witch was satisfied and happy that she killed him. She was laughing at them. She was Haha, I killed him. I got him. In one of my sources, it says that the witch kept saying, I got him. Gave him a big dose. I got him. Told him he was going to die. And this isn't something that they're hearing in their heads. This is the whole community hears her talking now. Because after this happened, neighbors were coming, not even neighbors, people from all over the place are hearing the story. And they're coming and they're spending the night at this house. Some of them are skeptics and they want to see if anything happens. Some of them just want to come and see how bad it is. And everybody experienced shit in that house. They heard the voice. They got smacked. They got pinched. Their blankets got ripped off of them. Everyone who stayed there had experiences. Now, Betsy had a boyfriend. I didn't write down what the boyfriend's name was. I forgot. But the witch hated Betsy and her boyfriend. She keeps telling her, you need to break up with him. You're not going to marry him. You need to get rid of him. And every time that they would be together, the witch would come along and mock them and torment them the whole time they were together. Wouldn't give them a moment of peace. And so finally, Betsy just broke it off. She let the witch win. This voice would constantly say, I will return in 7 years. It didn't say maybe. It didn't say if I return. It said, I will return in 7 years.
It's kind of weird because 7 is a biblical number.
Yeah. Now, these witnesses' stories are crazy. They didn't compare notes with each other. A lot of them didn't even know each other. But when you witness something like that, you kind of take some of it with you in a way. You know what I mean? Like that fear, you take that with you when you go. And that's how the story gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And more people know about it. After John Bell's death, even though she screwed with Betsy and her boyfriend a lot, the activity dies down a little bit. It's not so bad. Like I said, the witch liked Lucy, the mother, and there was actually a time where Lucy got sick and the witch brought her fruit and medicines and stuff to help her. And she would tell people, Lucy is the greatest woman to ever live. She would just constantly praise Lucy. She's the best woman. She's such a good woman.
Is there any more information on Lucy?
Not really. She was just being a mom.
Okay, well, I mean, that accounts for something.
Yeah. The voice, instead of wanting to hurt people and wanting to scare people, is less interested in that now, and it's more interested in just being heard. One local teacher reportedly stayed overnight at the Bell house out of curiosity. Not disbelief, just curiosity. He wanted to know if the stories were exaggerated. That night, while sitting near the fireplace, he heard footsteps walking behind him. Very slow, very measured, very deliberate footsteps, like someone is deliberately walking heel to toe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He turned around and there's nothing there. And then the voice just said, you don't believe. And he just sat there frozen because he had never said that out loud, which means she can read minds.
Oh, this is not what people need in 1817. Or what?
Yeah.
Like 7 years later, 5 years later, what? 1820, same difference? No, people do not need this at that time.
That is a consistent theme in the Bell Witch accounts, too. The idea that it knew private thoughts. That is violating. That is a violating feeling, I would think.
Yeah.
You can't even keep your thoughts private. It at least could hear your private thoughts, or it said things convincing enough that people believed it did. Another visitor reportedly tried to pray loudly to provoke it, and the voice interrupted mid-prayer and corrected his Bible verse. Corrected it. And then it laughed at him. I'd be like, shut up, bitch. No, don't say that. You're going to get hurt.
There's so much wrong with this. Okay, like, I'm trying to picture it. Okay, so the Bell Witch, whatever the hell this thing is correcting a Bible verse?
Yeah. From memory, like it knew it. It would also sing hymns.
So I'm trying to think of, like, Crowley or Rowena in Supernatural.
Yeah.
Saying that to, like, one of the fathers or the priests, who, I mean, most of them were screwed up in the show to begin with, but...
Crowley would definitely do that.
It's just so creepy.
You can't take Crowley seriously, though, because he was too funny.
And Rowena just wouldn't give a shit. She wouldn't care.
No.
Oh.
Now, witnesses start describing the voice differently. There's less rage. There's more control, like more personality. Like it wasn't just reacting anymore. It was like performing for them just because it knew that they were there for it. So be like, okay, I'm going to put on a show. I would.
At this point, like, I kind of feel like whatever this thing is, it's stuck there.
I
Like,
don't
it's
know.
stuck there and it's having fun.
We'll kind of get to that because it does tie into
Okay.
a cave. Some accounts say that it would sing, not full songs, but just like pieces and fragments, like it's remembering something in its head and just kind of humming parts of it out loud. Hymns or mocking it, depending on who you are. Now, eventually, it reportedly claims an identity. And this is kind of interesting, but kind of doesn't make any sense. Some versions say it claimed to be the spirit of a woman named Karen Batts, a neighbor who supposedly had disputes with John over land or business. Historically, that's debated because, I mean, that can't be proven. But folklore grabbed onto it immediately, of course. Why wouldn't it? Because people want explanations. And when there's a ghost, it's easy to tie a ghost to a person. Like, it used to be this person. But Kate Batts wasn't dead. She was still alive. And in one of the documentaries I watched about this, Kate Batts didn't hold a grudge against John Bell at all. So why would it be her? They had a dispute over land, but she didn't hold a grudge. There was a diary about this haunting that was written by one of John Bell's descendants. It's not proven that it was written because it was never found, but this story got passed down generation to generation. Descendants of the Bell family still live there and they know the story. And one of the Bells claims that he gets hauntings every once in a while. It's not as bad as the original haunting, but weird things happen in his house.
Is
One
it the
of
same house?
I don't think it's the same house, but it's around the same area. Like I said, this turned into a whole community haunt.
Okay.
It didn't just stay in the house. But one of the original structures on the Bell land is still intact. They moved it off the land though. But I think this is the structure that you can go into. It is the Bell Witch House because they say that it's haunted. But they moved it off the land. And I kind of have
Destroy
an
that
issue
shit.
with that.
No,
Yeah,
burn
but
it
I kind
down.
of have an issue with that because will it still be haunted if you relocate it? I mean, you can
I
relocate a
feel
house.
like
You
it's
can literally
attached.
pick it up and move it.
But,
Depends on what
okay,
it's
so
attached to.
so I say burn it down like spiders are investing it. You have 100 spiders in there? Yeah, burn that shit down. But the historical part of me, like, no, it's historical. You don't get rid of that.
Yeah, and you don't move it either. I don't like it when historical sites get moved because it's not historical then. It's got to stay in the original spot. Or else, to me, it's just not historical anymore.
Yeah, no, I completely get that. I don't know. I say at this point, burn it down, rebuild it, replicate it.
But if you burn the house down, you're not going to
Something.
get rid of the haunting. It's a haunting. Fire's not
Maybe
going
it's
to do
attached
anything
to
to
it.
it. So one night, the voice reportedly says it's leaving, like I said. And it doesn't just fade away. It says it's leaving. Multiple witnesses later claimed that that night felt different. The house felt lighter. It was quieter, like pressure had been lifted. And before it goes, it says, I will return in 7 years. And it does. 7 years later, it comes back. And this is where history and folklore kind of overlap. You don't really know what's historically accurate. You don't know what's just folklore. Some Bell family descendants claimed that 7 years later, it did come back, but not violently. More like it was visiting and it was speaking to people and it was answering questions and then it would leave again. Like it was just coming back to check in. Like, how you been?
How nice of it.
Yeah.
Please go away.
And whether or not that happened, people still believe it. And this haunting becomes basically the identity of this place. There are people that come from overseas to stay in this town, not the house, the town, because it's the whole town that is said to be haunted by the Bell Witch, not just the house, not just the cave, the whole town.
We would do that, though. We would at least say we would do it and then think twice.
I don't know. I think it would be cool to go and visit. I wouldn't stay in the house, even though it's relocated and everything. I wouldn't stay in the house. I wouldn't go in the cave. I might go near the cave just so I could look, but I think it would be kind of cool to visit, except it probably doesn't look anything like it did back in 1817. And I'd have an
No.
issue with that. I would want to go back to the old 1817 land and
Yeah.
see it for what it was then, which probably is not
Which
the
is
case.
why it's so still disappointing to me that we cannot time travel.
I know. I
I will
really wish I
always
could
say
time
it.
travel. I don't want to change anything. I just want to see things play out.
Yeah.
I want to be there for it. Now, like I said, travelers come to this place. Preachers reference it in their what do you call them, sermons?
Uh-huh.
Writers document it, and eventually the Bell Witch becomes part of American folklore, and not just Tennessee folklore, American folklore. But the story has evolved. Early versions focus on fear and punishment. Later versions focus on the mystery of it. Modern versions focus on the paranormal investigation. Of course, everybody wants to go see the Bell Witch Cave. The same story, but shaped by whatever generation is telling it, which is really a good way to word it. And then we get to the place most people know today, and that's the Bell Witch Cave. The caves already kind of mess with you because they're dark and they're creepy and they're cold and they're wet. A lot of them are wet. Sounds echo when you're in a cave. Sometimes you can lose your sense of direction. And if you believe something might be there, your brain fills in the details. Legend tripping. Modern investigators describe standing inside the cave and hearing something walk behind them. That's a nope. That's a big nope. Slowly walking, crunching on small rocks. The guy turned and there was nothing. And then he heard breathing. That's another nope.
Yeah, hell
Not
no.
not an echo of breathing. Not cave airflow, but breathing right here. Heart attack. I'm done.
I'm just trying to picture, like, a cave should have, like, one flow of air, and that's dependent upon the wind and the time of the day. And then you feel something else, like, go across the back of your neck. No.
Yeah. And whether paranormal or psychological, caves amplify fear. Why wouldn't it?
It's an enclosed area.
Like I said, it's legend tripping. You're already freaked out. You're going into a haunted cave where, witch is supposed to live. And you know what? Nothing ever specifies that she's a witch. This is just what they started calling her, was the Bell Witch, the Bell family, and the witch haunting them. But there's no proof, that there's no documentation. There's nothing saying that she was a witch. That's just what they called her.
Well,
They just knew that
in
it
the
was a
early
woman's
1800s.
voice. Everything was witches.
Well, exactly. And that goes on for 300 years prior. Witches, I mean, there's hardly any warlocks. Like, you can't accuse a man of being a witch unless it was, like, extreme circumstances. And it really wasn't until, like, the later 1800s where witch turned into hysteria.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I read that, I don't know if I said this before, but one theory is that during the Salem witch trials, people were freaking out and not lying about people being witches. They actually really thought that certain people were witches because they were hallucinating, because they had ergot poisoning.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. And then there's another theory that they knew these people were not witches. Actually, I don't even think it's a theory. I think it's just, it might be fact. Don't quote me on this, but they knew damn well these people weren't witches. These were women who were widowed, and most of them were widowed, and the land that their husbands owned was left to them. You're a woman, you can't own land. So now you're a witch, and now we get your land.
I mean, it's gone back hundreds of years. There's always been persecution against women in some way. I mean, and men too. I mean, but it's been different. You're accused of a witch, you're accused of being a Protestant, you're accused of so many different things. Then we get to modern day era, and then it's hysteria. It's
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of different things up until about like I want to say 1985, mainly when insane asylums started to diminish.
Yeah.
It's always something.
I will say one thing, though. Hysteria is a real thing. I get it.
Hysteria
So when you're-
as actual hysteria is a real thing. But when a woman doesn't cook dinner for her husband by the time he gets home from work in the 1950s, that is something
Yeah.
completely different.
No, that's something
You're
completely
just a
different.
dick.
But next time you're being a bitch and someone asks you, "Are you on your period?" Just, sit back
No,
and
it's
think about it
hysteria.
for a minute, because maybe you are. It's a real thing.
Right? In the
Like, wait a minute, I'm
physical
getting on my
terms
own
of
nerves right now.
the definition, yeah, it's a real thing. But the broad scope of it, in which people try to use hysteria as,
I know.
I mean, listen to our insane asylum episode. Let's continue
Yeah.
with yours. You're getting into my topics now.
I was making a joke. So locals nowadays, they just treat the Bell Witch like a tourist ghost story. But they treat it like history, because it is history. It could be very fabricated history, but there's something to it. But they treat it like it's actually something that belongs to the land and not something you challenge. It's something that you respect. Like if you go to Salem and you go to the old part where they actually did the executions and stuff, you be respectful. That's what they're saying here. And that's why this story still is told today. That's why it never died. And also because it had multiple witnesses, written accounts, regional reinforcement, cultural storytelling. It had everything needed to survive generations. People from England and Ireland and the Middle East, everywhere, they come from all over the place just to stay and hear the ghost stories. They have festivals there now too. The Bell Witch Festival.
Really?
Yeah. Want to go to Tennessee?
I don't know.
Sounds fun.
Let me Google where it's at. Let's Google the hours.
Where did I say it's in?
The hours to get there.
It's in Adams, Tennessee. And people are just as creeped out about it now as they've always been.
7.5 hours.
7.5 hour drive? That sounds about right. Yeah, when we went to Tennessee, it was about a 8-hour drive. Let's go. It's not that far. Stop a couple times to pee.
And it is not in the Appalachian Mountains.
I didn't think it was, but there's something else I read about that was in the Appalachian Mountains, and I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I didn't realize what side of Tennessee it was.
Anyways, people are just as creeped out today as they always have been, because if enough people believe in something, if enough people believe that something happened, the story becomes stronger and it kind of trumps the proof. You don't even need proof at this point. This happened.
Well, I mean, energy is what keeps things alive like this. In folklore, we don't actually know, but in folklore, energy keeps these things alive.
Mm-hmm. What also keeps it alive is people talking about it, even the skeptics. The skeptics keep it alive too. Because the skeptics, they're still going to go because they want to ghost hunt too. They want to debunk it.
Yeah.
So all of that energy just keeps it going. Even today, people visit the cave and some walk out laughing, some walk out quiet, and some never go back, just depending on what you experienced when you were in the cave. Now, I think I took a screenshot of this because I didn't know why the Bell Witch haunting was connected to a cave. Apparently, the Bell Witch Cave in Adams, Tennessee is intrinsically connected to the legend as it sits on the original 19th century Bell family farm and is believed to be the entity's sanctuary or hiding place. While the haunting began in their home, folklore suggests the witch retreated to this 500-foot-long cave when not tormenting the family. Now, hold on. Many believe the entity, often identified as neighbor Kate Batts, resided in the cave and used it as a portal to enter and leave the mortal world. I don't believe that one. There's an explorer's tale. A popular, though likely later added legend tells of young Betsy Bell and friends exploring the cave where the witch rescued a boy who became stuck in a tight spot. Oh, that was nice of her.
Yeah.
Also in that story, when Betsy Bell came out of the cave, she saw a little girl swinging from a tree branch wearing, I think, a green dress, but it was an entity, wasn't a real little girl. Modern lore says that it is currently a tourist attraction open during the summer where visitors report cold spots and strange noises, often attributed to the enduring spirit of the witch. So it sounds to me like what they did was just saw a spooky cave on the same property and said, that's where it came from. And that's all there was to it.
What do you believe?
I believe that there was a haunting. I believe that they called it a witch because what else were they going to call it? They were calling everything witches back then. So that makes sense. I don't want to believe that the voice was so clear and so loud like that because I have never heard of a haunting like that before. And if that part is real, that is a badass ghost. That is something that I would never want to experience.
It's got a lot of energy.
Yeah. Or it could have been a demon. Nobody knows what it was. They called it a witch because what else were they going to call it? But the fact that it had preferences, the fact that it liked certain family members and did not like other family members, the fact that it knew Bible verses. If it was demonic, I don't think it would have read the Bible verses, because in any demonic possession movie or documentary that you hear, you start saying Bible verses to it and it gets pissed and it wants you to shut up. And this one is humming hymns and correcting people's verses.
Hey, it could be powerful enough.
Maybe.
Now I'm going back to the yellow-eyed demon. Imagine
Supernatural
yellow-eyed
fans,
demon.
if you're not a Supernatural fan, you're not going to understand what we're saying. But watch Supernatural.
Watch it.
Go watch it. We reference it so much.
Yeah, just get on board.
Yeah, come on. Come on over to the dark side.
And light side, it's supernatural. It's both. It's balanced. But
Yes.
I don't know. It's
What
a
do
good
you
story.
believe?
Nothing. Like, I don't believe that it happened, and I don't believe that it didn't happen. For me, it's a story.
I feel like
There are
there's some
so
truth
many
in
different
it.
things. Yeah, I mean, there's probably some truth, but I mean, we're also going back to talking about like the history of witches and the history of everything. I mean, hell, like people in the 1600s were considered witches because they were Protestant versus Catholic. They were witches because they had a wart, because they weren't married in time, which is like between like 16 and 21.
Mm-hmm. But this thing only had a voice. It didn't even have a body. And they just decided to call it a witch.
Trying to be the skeptic on it. How true is it really?
Yeah. I'm
And
skeptical
no one knows.
too.
I want it to be true. So I can see both sides. I can see all the holes that are poked into it. I can also hope that all of it is true because I would like to experience it and then run away frightened and not sleep for a week.
I don't like that feeling.
I don't know. No, but I mean, but it's life. It's adventure. I
don't
hope
like the
that
feeling
it is true.
of you can't fall asleep until I fall asleep. I don't like that feeling.
I hope that it's true, but at the same time, if I don't experience it, I'm not going to tell someone that it did not happen to them.
Yeah, that's how I am. You saw what you saw, you heard what you heard, you experienced what you experienced. Just because I didn't doesn't mean that you didn't.
Yeah.
And
I hope that I have the same experience as you did. Kinda.
Yeah. I believe that there was
experience?
some...
I don't know.
I believe that there was some kind of a haunting. As bad as it got, I don't know. There were all witnesses, but this is back in 1817. There's nobody here now to tell us. They're all gone.
Yeah.
They're documented, some of them. I hope it didn't get as bad as the way that they tell the story now, but if it did, That's one of the worst hauntings I've ever heard of. Kind of cool, but I
Yeah,
kind of feel
and
bad for him too.
For all we know, it could be people just collaborating with each other. Oh yeah, that happened to me too.
Maybe.
And they know nothing about it. They're just, or it could have actually happened. We really don't know.
Yeah. Well, people that go there now can say whatever they want to say because they've heard so much of the story that they can just make
Yes.
anything up and it'll align with everyone else's experience too. But
I
back
hope
in
all that is true.
Back in 1817, though, these people weren't communicating with each other. This is just now happening in real time, and the experiences were authentic. They were the first experiences. We just don't have proof, you know?
I mean, I hope it's all true. I hope that there is so much more out there beyond our comprehension. It would be really cool.
Even if it isn't supernatural, it's still real to them. And fear that real changes people. It changes communities and it changes history. Some stories go away and some become legends. We have legends around here.
Yeah.
History records them, and whether they get embellished or exaggerated or not, folklore ends up protecting them. And then the fear and people doing their legend tripping keeps it alive.
Well, real or not, at least the legend tripping keeps things alive because so much is lost to history. Whatever we can keep alive, let's do it.
Yep. I like that phrase, legend tripping. That's kind of cool. Never heard it before until I did the Highgate Vampire. Now I'm going to use it all the time. It's the perfect saying. So that tonight was the Bell Witch. What do we have next week? Do we have another one of mine or do you have something?
I have a couple of things in the work. It just depends on who records first.
Okay. Well, next up for me is Lake Lanier. That one's pretty interesting. So if you want to hear about some fucked up shit that happened to some land before it turned into a lake, come on back.
Okay, well, everyone do all the things. If you like this episode, hit like, try to subscribe. We're saying all the things that everyone else does, but
Like, subscribe,
I heard this on another
follow,
podcast.
comment.
Can't remember what podcast it was. I listen to so many. And if you don't like us, send us to your enemies.
We say that. Okay, well, thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.